right, hello everybody. Welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike Grell, and as always, I'm joined by
Mike El-Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right, and today is a monumental episode because it's the 15th appearance of a very special guest. You can announce him, Mike Dell.
Oh, it's new Larry, Kevin Jank.
15. It's my quinceañera.
Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations.
Now I'm a woman.
Yeah, finally. Finally. But Jank, he's a co-host over there at the LCS Hockey Radio Show. He's been on here 15 times, at least 3 more times than his arch enemy Miles Watson. So congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. Got to keep padding that resume.
Now, Jank, I thought you and I had an understanding that when you come on this show, on the rare occasions when Mike L allows you to choose what book you do, you choose something from Marvel or something good. But this time, you said no. I want to pick. What did you tell the kids what you picked there, Kevin James?
I don't know what you're talking about. I picked Miss Tree number 5, and Mike Dell loved it, and that's it. Episode over. Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
I did love it. No, that's maybe not what he picked at all.
I may have picked Green Arrow, the Longbow Hunters, number 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, when Mike L told me this, and this is from like 1987, so when Mike L told me this last week at the end of the show, I was like, no, he didn't. I thought this was one of his usual, because this Mike L, he's a scamp.
He pulls some chicanery.
Yeah, he pulls these little pranks. And or he says, hey, I'll invite you on the show. You can pick whatever book you want, long as it's Superman or Batman. But no. He actually let you pick the book. I didn't believe him. And after we got done recording last, like Mike L showed me a visual evidence of screenshots of conversations that you had. And I'm like, oh my God, that Kevin Jank. That son of a bitch.
No prodding or anything.
So why you don't like DC? You've never read Green Arrow in your life, have you?
I did read Quiver. That was the Kevin Smith arc that he did in the early 2000s, I think.
Hey, Mike L, if there's one thing we still need to work on when we created the new Larry, we didn't get the recipe just right because this new Larry here, he still likes Kevin Smith like the old Larry. And I wish we could have got rid of that.
He's okay, but
yeah, these old and new Larrys, they still like
can't breathe
Kevin
that
Smith.
out of us.
Yeah, not a fan of the Kevin Smith, but Jank loves him. And so because you like Kevin Smith so much, you heard of Green Arrow Longbow Hunter because I'm guessing he likes it?
Yeah, I remember him talking about it on a podcast before. And that kind of always stuck in my brain that I should probably give it a shot at one point, but never did. Till now.
Yeah. Well,
I have to point out, since we're talking about Green Arrow and you mentioned Kevin Smith, the Brad Meltzer run right after that was even better.
Oh.
Yep.
Brad Meltzer?
Yep. Is it Metzer or Meltzer?
I don't know.
Brad.
Is he that guy that doesn't he have a TV show and shit?
He's an author. He might have a TV show, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a New York Times best-selling author.
Look at him, he's fancy.
Yep. Brad Meltzer's Lost History. Brad Meltzer's Decoded. There you go.
Yeah.
He's also the writer of Identity Crisis for DC, Green Arrow for DC, and Justice League for DC.
About that. But he's not who we're reading today.
Nope.
This Green Arrow Longbow Hunter, Longbow Hunter?
Longbow Hunters.
Longbow. I knew there's a plural in there.
It rolls right off the tongue.
Hunters is the plural. Well, this is written and drawn by Mike Grell.
Not Mike L, not Mike Dell. But Mike
Grell.
Grell, right.
He's your long-lost brother. Yeah. When they remake the movie Twins and make it triplets. 3 of you guys.
So, Jank, I know you've never read any Mike Grell, right?
No.
Yeah, neither have I. Mike L., I'm sure you're a big fan of the Mike Grell.
I've read some. He did Warlord.
That's right, he did do Warlord.
And he did Legion of Superheroes, I believe, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep, a little bit. Yeah, I read some of that stuff, definitely.
Yeah, he. We'll just talk about him here at the top since he was the brain behind all this. He was born in, let's see, where was he? 1947. 1947, I don't know where, but 1947. Oh, Wisconsin, I think. Well, he studied at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay.
How
and the
appropriate.
Chicago Academy of Fine Art. And he joined the Air Force, and he was an illustrator in the Air Force in Saigon. How about that?
Nice.
And then he came back from the Air Force. He joined the Chicago Academy of Fine Arts, and he started out in the comics world by being the assistant to Del Messick on the Brenda Starr comic strip in 1972. It's a little weird.
Nice.
Pretty much the same as this book. Really
And in 1973, Grell moved to New York, and he started working for DC, and he worked on Aquaman, Batman, Green Arrow, The Phantom Stranger. How about that? And some Batman family stuff, then the Legion of Superheroes, Superboy. He also did some creator-owned stuff. Sable, right, was one of them. Did you ever hear of the
Silver Sable? Just regular Sable?
Yeah, Sable.
John Sable Freelance, I guess, is the full title. John Sable Freelance. And Star Slayer.
Star Slayer, yes. Was that creator-owned or no?
Red Star and Black Star and all those.
Yes, and he slays them all.
Star.
But yeah, they were things, creator-owned books he did for First Comics, and I think Star Slayer started at Pacific Comics, and then that went out of business. Then they took it to First Comics. And then he did create the Warlord for DC. Now, I guess this Warlord, he was an Air Force pilot, because Grell was in the Air Force, but he crashes his plane and somehow goes into the center of the Earth.
That's right. Yep.
See, I had no idea about this. And then he's basically like Conan in the center of the Earth, except he's a modern man in a prehistoric setting.
Yeah. Cool idea.
So then Star Slayer, he did the old switcheroo with it. He took like a more prehistoric man, a primitive man, and he put him in a futuristic sci-fi setting.
Ooh.
So yeah, he did the old switcheroo.
Mm-hmm.
They have like crowbars with flashlights in this.
No, because he wasn't 3,000 years into the future like Camelot 3000. It's a nice callback though by you, Jank.
Yeah,
you're a fan of the show. We appreciate that. What else did he do? He worked on some TV series, I guess, and I don't know, whatever.
A little bit kind of fizzled out there at the last minute. There,
I'll be honest, I didn't take notes. I'm just looking through his Wikipedia. Yeah.
Look at that. Well, that's what the people tune into this show, right? They want to hear
I'm very busy. I'm very busy. But I did listen to an interview he gave, and
cool.
He seems like a nice fella.
That's good.
And he was talking about this Green Arrow stuff. And he says after he did the Warlord and he did those creator-owned books and stuff, they wanted him to come back to DC, and they said, yeah, you could either do Batman or Green Arrow. Or I guess they offered him to do Batman. And he said, but he knew what Frank Miller was doing because he knew Frank Miller, I guess. And he knew what he was doing with Dark Knight. And he says, no, I want no part of Batman because that's Frank Miller's going to be like the Batman guy for the next 20 years. That's going to be it. And he says, well, how about Green Arrow? And he was always a fan of Green Arrow. I don't know why, but he did.
Because everyone is, yeah.
And he said, all right, I'll do that Green Arrow there. And the reason this book, the idea, what he wanted to do with Green Arrow was give him more of an edge, And I guess he moved him from Star City, that dopey town Star City, and he took him out to Seattle. So this book here is set in
finally
Seattle.
a real world city in DC.
Moved him out of the fairy tale world into the boring real world.
Yeah, because he wanted him to be grounded in like a real world setting. And he then, after this Longbow Hunter deal, this was 3 issues. We're reading issue 1 today. He got his own series then with Green Arrow, and he wrote and drew everything. I don't know if he drew the whole thing, but he wrote most of it, right?
Oh, the monthly? He didn't draw all of it. No, eventually it was taken over by Jim Aparo and then someone else before that, I think.
Yeah, but he was the writer, and I guess, but his idea was that he was taking Green Arrow out of the, like you said, the fairy tale of Star City, and he's putting him in a real world city like Seattle, and he would just fight like crooks and thieves and gangsters and that kind of stuff. Right. He wouldn't be mixing with superheroes, and he never wanted anyone to call him Green Arrow. In fact, in any of his books, the character is never called Green Arrow. He's always Oliver or Ollie. Ollie.
Yeah, unfortunately that trend carried over to like all the TV shows, right? I don't know if you guys
CW
noticed.
Show? Yeah.
They never have their real names for the first couple of years. Like Green Arrow was, what was he? the vigilante. He was the
like the hood, or
right.
Yeah.
Like 7 years to become Green Arrow. Yeah.
Yeah, his Green Arrow's real name is Oliver Jonas Ollie Queen. Yeah, nicknamed Ollie. Oliver Queen. And we did his backstory, the character's backstory, previously on the show when we did the Green Arrow and Green Lantern, where Speedy was on the smack.
Right. Yes.
They summarize it again here in this issue.
So we don't have to do it here. But what was I going to say about the Mike Grell? Yeah, so he took him into Seattle, and he also changed his costume up because he said, if you're in Seattle, it rains a lot and it's cold and rainy, so you need an actual outfit that you can wear out. So he gave him like more fitting, like he's covered his arms, made him more pants, gave him a cloak and shit.
Yeah,
from the
cloak
rain
and shit. Yeah. But can we all agree that Neil Adams' costume is awesome? Like the previous costume with the little Robin Hood hat, it's just great. And like the little, like the bare arms.
Kind of
like
goofy.
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with you on that. No.
Oh, I love it.
Also, he wanted to get rid of the trick arrows and the trick bows and everything, and that's why in this one he just uses a longbow, just a straight old longbow, no trick arrows, just boom.
Big
He
mistake.
even says at one point, he's just like, no, those boxing glove arrows made me soft or something like that.
So Michael, you're not a fan of putting Green Arrow in Seattle?
Well, to be honest, when I was like, a teen, I thought it was so cool because Green Arrow's realistic.
Yeah.
And he's, vigilante and all this other stuff. But this trend, now looking back, I realized it was a huge mistake, I think. So,
well, it's not something you should do with every character. Obviously, Superman shouldn't be like that. But Green Arrow, he's street level. I feel like that really works for him.
Yeah, I think it works for him as well.
Everything except Seattle. You can. I gotta have Star City. Yeah, you gotta have Star City. Come on.
No.
Star City's dopey. Seattle, birthplace of grunge. Hey, when Green Arrow, when Ollie Queen is out there rounding up crooks on the streets of Seattle, a young Kurt Cobain was somewhere.
There you go.
Yeah.
Down by the
one of the guys
screaming.
who's rounding up, probably. Yeah.
So
he was in fear of this killer that was on the loose.
He was getting ready to bust through. But all right, he's making the streets clean for Kurt Cobain. But all right, anything else we should know about Mike Grell? We mentioned Warlord. We mentioned the Green Arrow and shit. I don't know if that is.
I'll only say that Ed Hannigan drew the monthly series, the regular Green Arrow monthly series after this one. Right, so Mike Grell just wrote it. But anyway.
How long did Mike Grell stay on the book?
Oh, I think he stayed on for like the whole thing, like 80 issues or something crazy. Yeah.
No. Volume 2. Yeah, Volume 2. He did issues 1 through 80.
Yeah.
And annuals 4 and 6.
Nice
and that's from 1988 to 1994.
Cool.
Then he did Green Lantern Volume 2 as well. That was earlier. That was in the late 70s, actually. 90 to 100 and some more.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I read those.
I'm sure you did.
Yep. Owned them, and I sold them. Anyway.
Hey, he did some stuff at Marvel in the 2000s.
Wait, did you mention Shaman's Tears?
I did not mention Shaman's Tears.
Image
Why don't you
Comics.
talk about that? Because I see that ad every once in a while. Like it's a Native American kind of symbol, right?
All I know is it's a creator-owned comic. I don't know anything about it.
Oh.
I never read it. No.
Well, thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm glad I did. He also did a short run in Iron Man.
Yes, issues 50 to 69 in 2002, 2003. Shaman's Tears 1 through 12 and number 0. God bless Image Comics and their number zeros. And he did that from 1993 to 95.
Yep.
So that's pretty early in the Image run, huh?
Yeah, very.
That's right at the top there. All right, so let's go. That's the creator here. Now, Green Arrow, we mentioned his backstory. We talked about in the past. We'll go over it again here. Also, Black Canary shows up in this book.
Yes.
Boy, does
Do, La, and La.
Yeah.
I'm always a big fan of the Black Canary.
Yep.
And I guess that's about it. There's really, Jank, is there anything else you'd like to mention about Green Arrow?
No. I mean, I'm curious to get your take on this because it should have everything you like. You don't like the cosmic stuff. You like the more street level stuff.
I do.
You like smoking hot Asian ladies. Like,
well, I guess there's like, a picture
She only
of
gets a
one
couple
who was
pages here.
murdered in the past. Yeah, and then at the end she shows up. But all right. So let's talk about it here. Let's look at the cover there, Michael.
Oh, we should point out this was in prestige format, right? Just like The Dark Knight Returns. So
And explain to the kids what that means.
it's like glossy paper, square bound, right? Not like a comic book, more like I guess that'd be like a soft cover book, right? Like the pages are glued into the spine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a thin book.
No staples.
No staples, right. So it was more expensive, and usually these books were for more mature readers, like me at age 13.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm buying a comic book, I want staples. I want my staples.
Understandable. Just like I want newsprint. I like newsprint better, right? But anyway,
I mean, I've had like so many comics though where like the staple didn't hold the middle page, and it just like comes out. You're not even touching it hard. It's like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
Life is over.
Anyway, so look at this. Right above the title, we have Mike Grell. Mike Grell, Green Arrow, the Longbow Hunters. And we have the DC Bullet, the price, big fat price here, $2.95 American, $3.95 Canadian, getting screwed again. And we have this nice cover. I mean, I wish there was an art major here, but this is called, what is this? It's just like on a canvas? I can't tell. It's like painted. I think it's like oils on a canvas, right? Looks like it. It's,
Right.
Not a typical comic book cover. I like it. And so it's kind of like, what do you call this? Not a montage, but would it be a montage? I don't know what it is. But like you have a picture of Green Arrow, like a full figure picture of Green Arrow, and then right behind him you have a large face of Green Arrow. Yeah. And then on the back you have, that's the bad guy, like the serial killer, who's holding a knife, and the knife is kind of cutting across a wide shot of Seattle, and the glint of the blade is kind of like creating like a star cross pattern at the top of the page. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Jank, you like this cover, right?
Yeah, the cover is a 10 out of 10. I mean, I'm always a sucker for the old wraparound cover as it is, but this is phenomenal. This looks like an old timey novel,
right?
That I would have seen at Grandpa's house.
I can see that. You can see it, Grandpa's. The colors are all like green and purple as well. Everything in blue, dark blue and black, and
right.
All right, so then we open up the book, Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters by Mike Grell and Laureen Haynes.
Assistant, yeah. Maybe she did backgrounds or something.
Yeah. Say that name, Mike L. The next one.
Oh, geez, here we go. It's French, but can I pronounce it?
Laclement?
I don't know. I'm not even going to guess. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Julia Laclement, color artist.
No, Laclement. I don't know.
Ken Bruzenak, letterer.
Bruzenak, there you go.
Mike Gold is the editor.
I'm going to say it's Laclement, Julia Laclement, but I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Come on.
Never would have guessed that one.
Yeah.
So we open up, we see Seattle, and we get some narration here.
Okay, hold on. I got to close my spyware that's spying on me. Okay, so here we go. This is narration, and this is from The Killer, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of film noirish, right? Like the hunters are dying off. Oh, you can still see them if you know where to look. And it's like, again, this is 1987, grim and gritty, post Frank Miller comic books, right? And we see like the city, we see a gang of toughs, right? One guy's wearing an ACD shirt. One guy's got those really cool punk rock sunglasses that I used to have when I was a kid, like the little slits.
Did you really have those?
Of course. The black ones. Yep.
Nice.
Lil Michael. That's
little Cyclops visor.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we see this girl walking along with I guess, is that not a raincoat, but it's like April.
A yellow raincoat.
A yellow raincoat.
Yeah.
She's walking along. And she's walking along, and through the narration, it's implied that she is what we call a hooker.
She's a whore.
Whore. We don't want to say whore, but yeah, she's lady of the night. So she walks up to this guy, and she's like, "Hi, honey, you want to party?" And we get this kind of, I guess, I don't want to call it flashback, but it's like a flash of this image of this Asian woman standing like in a room who's, bare-breasted, but she's wearing like underwear.
And the hair is covering the...
The hair is covering the breasts.
Covering, yeah.
Yeah. Conveniently, right. And so then it's a pretty cool page because the panels, like the main story is interspersed with kind of like this flashback to this Asian woman, but this woman in the raincoat is hitting on this guy, and then the next panel, and then there's the Asian woman, then there's the hand holding her, and then the next panel she's dead on the ground, like with a big knife wound in her, it looks like her chest.
Yeah, we should say the narration, it's omniscient. It's not like from...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And she's like, why? And then we cut to this newspaper clipping, Seattle slasher strikes 18th victim. So we know that there's a serial killer on the loose, right? And then we cut over to Oliver Queen, who we shan't call Green Arrow, but he is reading this paper. And to be honest, even though I know Black Canary and I know comic books, at first glance, I didn't know this was Black Canary. I forgot that she wore a wig as Black Canary, you know?
Yeah. See, I knew that because, I love Black Canary.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's hanging out with Black Canary, and she's putting up like these newspaper clippings, and they're in this like castle, and I guess this is where they've just moved into together, right?
Yeah. Seattle's known for its castles.
Yeah. Isn't it like a shop or something too that she's gonna run or something? Or
yeah, I don't know.
Hey, I don't know. Whatever.
Robin Hood Killer Clean. Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's set right on like a street corner in the middle of town.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Looks like maybe it's some old English pub or something.
Right.
Chip's place.
Yeah, it could be. You're right. But so this is where so basically so he's trying to kind of put some of the clues together to figure out what's going on, and she's kind of helping a little bit, kind of like half joking around. And then she does what any good detective would do and completely bends over in front of him and gives him a nice ass shot, and gives us kind of a nice view too of her midriff. And
Longbow did it all the time.
Yeah. And so again, he's kind of piecing the clues together, and we get some nice art here where it's like line work comic book art, but then it cuts to a close up of Green Arrow's face. Oh, sorry, Oliver Queen's face, and it's kind of like on grayish canvas, and it's like
pastels.
Like pastel colors, like gray, but it's also blue, and like the lines are kind of blue and black and white. It's kind of cool. And then he's like, yeah, someone knows something, but they're not talking. And then just at that moment, as they're in the middle of
wait, Michael, that next page there, she says, if you'll give me a hand with the rest of these, for some reason, she's putting newspaper up over the windows. We'll be ready to open in the morning. So we're going to open and do something.
Shop, right.
But I don't know what exactly.
Yeah.
And so then
he's apparently not working there wherever this place is because he has to find a job.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, I still need a job. Right. And we should also point out that she has a T-shirt on that says Seattle Slugfest on it. It's got a little picture of these little cartoon slugs.
Yeah, what do you think that means?
I don't know.
That's a terrible choice for this book.
Right.
like is that it? Was that a legit thing that was popular?
Maybe it was a little plug. Yeah, maybe it was a little plug.
But you think it doesn't go with the tone of the book, though, right?
Right.
Like goofy, cartoony slug on the shirt. You could have did something else there, but all right.
No, I guess it's supposed to be, that makes it more impactful when this crackhead just kind of bursts through the window. Like, oh, they're having such a fun, goofy time, and then now this happens.
Yeah, spoiler alert, a crackhead bursts through the windows. But it's it's like a teenage girl, a 17-year-old girl or something. She just, because with those crackheads, what they do is they like to run and jump through windows. What they do.
Yeah, she kind of just smashes through, and then right away, Dinah Lance is helping her, and like she figures out that she's on something, and is it Ollie that reaches into her purse and sees crack? Yeah. And he holds up this little thing of crack. And
then because 911, they're asking him, hey, what's going on with this girl? And he's like, I don't know, let me check her purse. No ID, but looks like she's got crack.
Yeah, he pulls out like one thing, and it has a yellow cap, and it's long and skinny. And then in the next panel, it's short and squat with a red cap.
That's a good point. I didn't notice that. Is it two different things, or is it the same thing just badly drawn? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Is that supposed to be like Jank, tell me, is that supposed to be the crack pipe, and then that's the crack?
Oh, it could be.
Yeah.
It's a weird crack pipe, but it's not the kind I would use when I.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't look like my crack pipe, but all right. But yeah, they call in the.
At least look at this. She'll be okay because crack can't kill you.
Yeah, we learned that on. Look at Jank with all the callbacks to our previous episodes. Wolfpack. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Forgot about that.
Can't kill you. But yeah, so this slash fish and chip shop castle slash house. This is weird. Look at the exterior there. Like, what is going on here? It's like a house in the front, a castle in the back, and it's right on the corner of a public street.
Of buildings. Business in the front, party in the back.
I just don't know what's happening here. But yeah, the cops and the ambulance shows up, and what's her face? Black Canary says, "Hey, do you mind taking care of the shop? I'm going to go with the girl there in the ambulance." And he gets cracking wise here with the cops, though, Michael. He's like, he just interrupts their interview, and he says, "You're wasting your time, officer. She was their friend, but they don't know nothing. She got some bad crack, but they didn't see nothing. She just had some bad luck, but it don't mean nothing. It couldn't happen to them." He's all pissed.
And then and then he shoves one of them out of the way, right? Yeah. They ain't talking. So then, yeah, it's like so then they're Oliver Queen and Dinah Lance are talking about what's going on, and they're walking through this like castle thing, and now the girl's being transferred to a detox center, and then this is where Green Arrow starts basically giving a gigantic speech, right?
Yes, this is
for like
good.
20 pages.
Yeah, we talk often on the show about poor exposition and how to handle it properly, and one of the things you do is you have a character discuss these details with someone who doesn't know them. But here we get Green Arrow, Ollie, giving his life story to the reader and to Black Canary, a woman who's been in a relationship with him for I don't know how many years, 30 at this point. And I think she would
Maybe
know
they don't
all
talk
this.
about anything. Yeah. They just get to banging right away.
Mm-hmm.
She would know all this. Yeah,
right.
He's telling her again for the benefit of this is not how you do this. But all right,
good point. So basically, yeah, he's kind of like analyzing his whole life, and he's talking about he has like a picture. He pulls out a picture of him in his. I guess the idea is that this is the first Green Arrow costume he wore.
Well, that's not him. That's just a painting of like Robin.
Or is that supposed to be Errol Flynn? Okay, it was supposed to be Robin Hood.
Because he loves a Robin Hood.
Right. Okay. So he's like, times were, the painting stands for a time when things were simpler, life was sweeter, and death further off. And then he basically starts to flashback, and he talks about how he's a godfather. Can I also point out that I don't like aging superheroes? We find out that Speedy has a son, which kind of makes him a grandfather. And then later on, he says that he's 42 or 43, I think.
43. Yeah, we're older than him, I guess.
Yeah, younger than us. But
how does that make you feel? He's like, "Oh, I'm such an old man.
I know.
I should probably retire."
I haven't even started a career at 46.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's funny. I do have friends that actually are like talking about retiring, they're like teachers and stuff, and I'm like, I can't wait to start a career so I can retire too. Anyway.
I'm just resting up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very old. This Green Arrow, he's 43. He's about to die, and he's having these regrets about his life. He's like, "Oh my God, Speedy, he was on Smack. Now he's got a baby. Remember he was on the Smack? That's Speedy." But he's feeling real old. So I'm jumping ahead though. I was going to say he wants to put some babies in Black Canary, but yeah, I'm jumping ahead.
Well, first, we see a little cut over to him, like imagining himself as Errol Flynn, as Robin Hood. And then he's hanging out with this guy named Howard Hill, who's kind of like teaching him how to shoot an arrow, right? And then
hey, by the way, that Howard Hill guy, he worked on all the Robin Hood pictures in Hollywood and stuff. And I guess Mike Grell actually knew that guy.
Really?
I think that's what I heard in this interview, that he actually did know him.
It's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we cut over to the famous scene where Oliver Queen falls off his boat, or this guy's boat, I guess, and then washes up onto the shore of this small island. Now, I've read many Green Arrow origins, and they all have the island, but they're all completely different in how it plays out. But in this version, he just, he has to learn to like use a bow and arrow so he can shoot, animals to survive. And we see him growing his beard or whatever. And he's like learning to hunt, and he's all happy about it. And then he's like, "That's why I won't." He's like, when I left that island, I swore I'd never kill again, and I kept that oath, except for that one time That's why I won't hunt animals. Again, post Frank Miller, right? Anyway. So then, he's like, yeah, I'm a hunter. And then it cuts to the next page. And then I think this is a reference to his Silver Age origin where he, quote, fought pirates on the island. But here, this is Mike Grell's way of kind of like poking fun at that. So he's like, sorry to inform my historians that there are only 2 of these guys. And all they were doing was checking their marijuana crop. And when I captured them, they were stoned. And so he's like, Green Arrow, hell. After sampling their crops in a few magic mushrooms, those guys were seeing green everything. It's because I think in the story, they do the classic, like, he looks like some kind of green arrow. And then the name stuck, right? Like, it's ridiculous. But so then we see, like, the guys get captured. And then he puts on the Neil Adams Green Arrow costume, which I love. And
it's pretty good here. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it looks great. And then
I think I like the new one better, though.
Okay. And then we see the next page, like he's using his trick arrows, right? Like what do you call that? Like a cat o' nine tails arrow or whatever it is, right?
Bolo arrow.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, right? Where they shoot the little things around? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. And then he's talking about his ward, Speedy, who's basically like his son. And then
he's shooting the smack right there.
Right, he's shooting the smack. Yeah.
He's got the monkey on his back right there in that picture. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he also talks about how he lost his fortune, and then there's a silent panel of him looking at his bow, and he's like, and then I think he realizes in the middle of this 10-page speech, this is a weird page. He's like, where'd you go? I can't be that boring. What, am I talking to myself? Then he makes a joke about killing himself, and he actually puts his hand up to his like temple and pulls the trigger and does like the cross-eyed, tongue hanging out face, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. I love the art of this page. It's very well done.
And then he kind of, I especially like this close-up detailed shot of Black Canary's ass.
Yeah.
Because he looks up like from between, like her legs are in the foreground in the stockings, the fishnets, and he's on the ground just looking up at her.
Right.
And we just see her ass. And then the next page.
Get changed into full Black Canary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because the next page we see her from the front, and she's in her full Black Canary regalia, wig and all, looking nice. And they make the sweet, sweet love.
Yeah, and he's like, thanks for putting on the costume, and all I can think of now is taking it off. And he picks her up and walks her up the stairs of the castle.
Yep.
Keep the wig up.
Yeah. Then we cut over to the streets again, the streets of Seattle. And we see another lady of the night walking along. And then we're cutting over to, again, images of that same Asian woman. And then we see like this is a black woman now. She's walking along. We're following her. And then we get a more revealing shots of this Asian woman. And then
it looks like I can see some nipple there.
Yeah, there's definitely some nipple. And she's in a sexual position. And then we see like this hooker like talking to these various guys on the street.
Well, she's an undercover cop, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Nice.
Yep. So she's walking along, and then she comes across a woman. And then the next thing you know, this undercover cop gets discovered by these 2 other cops, and she's dead.
Yeah, because they somehow lost track of her.
Yeah, in like 2 seconds.
That's their whole job, is to just watch this girl.
Yep.
They somehow lost track of her.
So for some reason, she decided to wander into a back alley where they couldn't see her.
Right.
Yeah.
Smartest of moves.
Yeah.
So then we cut over to post-coitus situation here with Green Arrow and Black Canary. And they're kind of just chatting it up here. And is this where he talks about how he's going to get rid of his trick arrows? Or is that oh, yeah, it's around here. Isn't it?
I think that was before.
Oh, did we miss it? Yeah, he basically says...
He was like, I gotta get it back to basics.
Right, yeah. And then here's where he talks about having children. And Black Canary's like, I don't want to have children. And he's like, why not? You love kids. And he's like, I'd love to make babies with you, but I won't make orphans. And it's really dramatic. And we have like a silent panel of them and then a silent panel of the castle. It's pretty cool.
Again, that's a great shot of Black Canary's face here in the gray, the pastel.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's nice. And then we cut over to like the funeral of this cop, and then we're intercutting it with Green Arrow, like practicing his shooting. And then this is the part
Well, I don't. It's a Is it a funeral?
Yeah. Well, at the top is it? I'm assuming, or is it for someone else? I don't know. It's just a
I don't
random.
know who it's. I don't know who it's for. Like,
Well, see, because then we see the gravestone of Ray Gunn, but I don't know who the hell that is.
yeah, I think that
Sounds like an alias.
it comes in. Like, have you read the whole series, Michael?
20 years ago.
All right. Well, I'll explain it at the end because I don't want to.
You don't want to spoil it. Okay. So then we see the gravedigger digging a hole, digging a grave, and then he gets shot in the back with an arrow and falls into the grave. Cut back over to Dinah Lance / Black Canary coming in on Green Arrow, and they're chatting it up, talking.
And then, she's about to leave because she found the drug connections where the kids got their crack.
Right.
You know? She traced it back to a high school in the Wolfpack's neighborhood, and she's going to go, hey, I'm going to go break down the old crack dealership. While I'm away, here's a present for you. And she gives him a present, like it.
Right. And then we cut back over to the city.
Well, what's the present, Mike? I'll tell the kids what the present.
Well, we don't know yet, do we?
Yeah, I think so. He opens it right there. Yeah.
What is it? I don't even
It's his
see
new
it.
costume. He opens up the new costume.
Yeah. More practical.
That's two pages away, though. That's 2 pages away.
No.
On page...
You just talked about the guy getting shot in the graveyard. And then the
on
next
page
he
30.
opens up the
Oh, he pulls...
Yeah,
you don't see it, though. You just see, like, the top of it.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, like he says, it's a bit more practical for Seattle weather.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll either after your painting.
But we don't know it's the costume until 2 pages later, technically.
No, we really do. Jank, you knew that. I knew it was, right? I mean, it wasn't that hard. Yeah.
Nope.
Because she says I modeled it after the painting. Yeah, because
Nope.
the
we don't get to
costume.
see it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not revealed. It's a secret.
All right.
Delayed gratification. So then,
what we should say, by the way, we kind of skipped over this part, but while there's a slasher going around killing prostitutes, there's also a killer going around pretending they call him the Robin Hood killer. He's going around killing people with bows and arrows. Yeah, 2 serial killers at one time. It's a little weird.
Territory. Yeah,
a little weird.
Is this Dexter?
Yeah, because that's who killed the gravedigger, was the Robin Hood killer. You know, he shot him through with the arrow. So you're almost thinking, oh my God, is this Green Arrow going nuts? You know, he's going around killing people because he's so bored with his life.
Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So anyway.
So then we cut over to this like elderly couple walking down the streets of Seattle, and they get surrounded by a gang of toughs. And they're trying
Hey, Michael, that elderly couple, they're also younger than us.
Oh, geez.
Are they really?
No.
Yeah, I hope not.
I was like, did it say that? Because wow.
And then we see Green Arrow in all his glory in his new Mike Grell designed costume. It actually does look really good here. And he shoots...
I was like a good belt that has your initials on it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the old one had that too, which is very cool. But he shoots an arrow, and it shoots one of the toughs in the hand. Another one it shoots in the ear. And then a third one it shoots right below the Johnson. And then he threatens him. He's like, stay, or the next one will be an inch higher.
Yeah, and when you say he shoots him in the ear, he like pins him to the wall but through his like ear.
Right.
And his hand is pinned to the wall too. The other
right. So he knows what he's doing. And then he walks up to he's basically saying that he's trying to get information from these guys, and he walks up to the guy with the arrow through his ear, and he grabs it, like, you know the thing you do to door stops when you hit it and it it vibrates? That's what he does to this guy. And so, I'll go ahead.
Gives it a flick.
Yeah, gives it the old flick.
Right.
The old flickeroo. Yeah.
Yep.
But this Green Arrow, he's trying to find, and you mentioned his initials on the belt there, Jank. It is a G for Green Arrow, even though he hates that name apparently. He still puts the initials on the belt.
Right.
You think the belt would be O for Ollie?
Yeah, there's out the window.
But he goes to he's trying to find information about the slasher, not the Robin Hood killer. You think he'd be more upset about the Robin Hood killer because it's almost someone, imitating him, but he doesn't seem to mind that one.
Well, think that's him.
He's really concerned with this slasher, though. And so he's asking these punks if they have any information about this slasher. And what do you know, Michael? The first punk he stops has information about the slasher.
Of course. They'll talk to each other.
Yeah.
And
he says he lives underground. Yeah. He's some guy who lives underground.
Yeah, the tunnel rat. And then Green Arrow shoots another arrow through the first arrow that was close to his Johnson, and it splits it, and the guy's so scared that he faints. And then we cut over to... Who are these guys again?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, they are... I think these are the part of the drug trade.
Yes.
And then we cut over to the cops, and then we get this weird reaction.
Oh, yeah, they say there's a snooper. I hear we've got a problem with snooper.
Right.
They're looking around the docks. You know who that snooper is, the Black Canary. She's snooping around.
Yeah.
You know. So they say, go take care of them.
And then we get like a reaction of the hooligans getting arrested, and it's like they're like, "Yeah, man, he was," and with the biggest. And the idea is supposed to be that they're like incoherent and just like freaking out. And we see like their impression of Green Arrow being like this kind of monstrous guy, like holding like a flaming arrow. And then we see a drawing of Errol Flynn as Green Arrow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and because that's how the old couple describes him, as Errol Flynn.
Right. Well, he was with a nice and a really great, the elderly couple that's like 39. And then we cut over to Green Arrow.
But my God, when she says the old lady's like, well, he was ... with a nice ... and a really great ... All right, so that first one you could say smile, maybe with a nice smile. Sure. But that second one, a great ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Saying, right? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Probably not better than Black Canaries, but.
No. And then we cut over to Green Arrow doing some detective work, right, in like these abandoned kind of like rundown.
Yeah, the underground city in Seattle, which I've never been to, sadly. Maybe I'll have to talk Pete into taking us there on the next trip.
Yeah, Jank's cousin Pete. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
I want to see this.
Scooch. Scooch is a tunnel rat. I bet that's another buddy of theirs, Scooch.
Is this real? Like, is this a real thing? Yeah. What is it? Yeah. What is it? What's the story behind it?
I don't know if there was an earthquake or what, but there was a city that's now just underground, and they just built the new Seattle on top of it.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. So see, there's some value in moving it to a real place like Seattle. Right. What does Star City have? Nothing.
Oh, I'm sure they could cook up something since it's fake, but so like he finds this little kind of like, like makeshift living space for some guy who was a tunnel rat in Vietnam War, right?
Yep.
And hold on a second, I keep getting ads here. And then he's like, this is him. Somewhere in this is the key to 7 months of slaughter. And he like sees a picture of a guy in Vietnam with two other guys, and there's like a headline: American tunnel rats fight Charlie on his own ground. So he's figuring out that this guy was a Vietnam veteran. And then all of a sudden he gets clocked in the face.
Back of the head.
Or back of the head, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. I thought he like turned around, but you're right. He's just facing backwards. And then the guy comes and kicks him in the head, and then he lights a fire and walks out. And he's like, "Stop me if you can." He's like, talking tough to him. And then we cut over to this guy's like origin story, I guess, eh?
Yeah. And just like Kevin Jank, his origin starts with killing a hooker.
I would never kill a hooker. I love them too much.
But I guess this is the Asian lady we've been seeing all along, in those little flashback scenes. He murders her, and his two buddies in the army, they have to cover for him. Because I guess, I don't know, he's a secret, they're on some secret mission or something in Saigon. And
they're doing some kind of a hit off the books or something. I don't know if they're just kind of mercenaries, or if this was a covert operation that the army doesn't want to even know about.
I think that was it.
It sounds like they brainwashed him to be a killer, but now he's gone too far. So now they're just going to try and get rid of him, right? By like leaving him somewhere in Vietnam.
Yeah, their idea is to just make him go to like one of the worst conflicts in Vietnam, and they figure, he'll die there anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently no luck there.
So then we cut over to hold on a sec here. I got like 1,000 ads. Hold on.
It's Mike Grell. He's always
pop-ups. Yep. And we cut. Is this Black Canary now?
No.
No, just a random woman.
Just a hooker.
Just a hooker walking along. And then we see this old guy on a phone, but someone else is watching him. This is a woman, an Asian woman, we assume, with a tattoo of a dragon on her left shoulder, and who's holding a bow and arrow. And so we cut back over to the woman, the hooker, walking along. A guy comes up to her on the street from behind him, holds up the knife. So this is the killer, we presume. But then all of a sudden, we're intercutting with panels of the Asian woman from earlier, with the shots of the woman with the bow and arrow. We hear a scream. Green Arrow looks over. I get a pop-up ad, and then Green Arrow jumps down and starts running towards the action. And then as he's running, we're intercutting with a flashback to the Asian woman in Vietnam. Then we see this woman holding the bow and arrow. She shoots the guy through the chest, and then the hooker runs away. And then Green Arrow runs up, and then all of a sudden, the woman shoots a second arrow, and it goes through this car and hits the old guy.
Yeah, there's a guy on the phone saying that someone is hunting them down.
Right.
He's talking, and he says, we're in trouble. Someone's hunting us down. They're killing all of us. And so we have the two serial killers converging.
Yeah.
And this lady is the Robin Hood killer. And she killed, but because she's, I guess, nice, she's like, well, I'll kill that slasher guy too while I'm here. Bang, picks him off. Because Green Arrow, he froze. He didn't shoot to kill that guy, but she does kill him. She has no qualms about killing, so she kills that guy.
At least done something, like shoot him in the arm or something. Like you can shoot him anywhere you want. Yeah. Just not doing anything is not good.
Right.
And so then she kills the old guy who was driving a car, and then he wrecks the car, and then Green Arrow goes over and looks in the car. See, here's look at that picture of Green Arrow looking at the dead guy in the car. That's not good.
It's not great, no.
That's and even her running away, that could be better. But so then the hooker goes back to talk to her pimp, and she's like, "Hey, you been holding out on me, bitch?" And he's like, "No, baby, I swear. There's this guy, and he had a knife." And the pimp says, "You mean like this?" And he pulls out a knife, and he kills the hooker. He kills his own hooker. She's making money for him, and that's not how you protect your business. And but then the next day on the newspaper, it says Slasher's death toll reaches 20, but the Slasher didn't kill her. Her pimp killed her.
Right. They don't know that, right?
What a twist.
Yeah.
I'm not helping here.
So then Green Arrow, he's looking at the arrow that killed the guy in the car, or maybe that's the one that killed the Slasher. Either one, he's studying this arrow, and he says, sometimes there are no answers, only more questions. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
And, oh, no, look at this, the ad from the writer-director of Clerks and Mallrats, Kevin Smith.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the climax of the book. There you go.
Can't get away from it.
But, yeah, so that's how the story ends. 47 pages. Holy hell. And
that was a long one.
Yeah, and he's studying that arrow. So next issue, he will start his investigation into who the lady archer is. So there it is. Green Arrow, Longbow, and Hunters, issue 1. Kevin Jank, what do you think?
I thought it was phenomenal.
What?
I really liked it. It's not this. There's certain story elements that I didn't think were great, but overall, I had a good time.
Phenomenal.
Okay. I'm definitely intrigued. I'll definitely read the other 2 issues for sure, because I really did enjoy this. And I like what it was setting up. I felt that they did kind of rush the one serial killer storyline a little bit and kind of got that out of the way real quick.
Why? That's my biggest problem with this. It's muddled mess. Why 2 serial killers? Why? You just needed the Robin Hood killer. That's all you need. You don't need the slasher. I think the slasher bit's just there because Mike Grell, he wasn't in Vietnam, but he was in the Air Force during Vietnam, and he was in Saigon, and he wanted to tie that in, and he wanted to make it gritty, and he wanted to have some hookers getting stabbed. But there's no need for any of that. Like the idea that there are 2 serial killers working at one time and they converge, it's ridiculous. I just thought that was absurd.
Either of those serial killers would have been good on their own, but
yes, the Robin Hood one is all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah. It's like the later Batman movies when they started doing 2 villains at the same time. It's like, no, I liked it better when there's just one.
Yeah, it's the fact that the first guy he stops on the street just happens to know information about this guy, and then when he goes down to it just happens to be the guy, and what if he went down there and it's the wrong guy? All right, well, but then see that's a whole different story. Then that will take up the next 2 issues, and then you couldn't do the stuff with the Robin Hood killer because you have too much stuff. Just narrow it down. Get it just to the Robin Hood Killer. That's all you need. That's what he should be most interested in because it's a guy going around imitating him, basically.
Yeah. I wonder if he knew that they were going to do an ongoing series later, because then he could have saved this for that, Save some of those ideas for later on.
Because it's like he has no, up until he sees that lady shoot the two guys, he seemed to be not concerned at all about the Robin Hood Killer.
That's true.
You think that would be his
cares
top
more about prostitutes than old men, apparently.
I guess. But I don't know. That was my big problem with it. Just too muddled, and But I appreciate what they're doing. I like the idea that they're giving Green Arrow a new birth here because Green Arrow's corny as all hell, right?
Not to me. Not to me.
Still real to him, damn it. Still real to Mike Grell. But I like the Jank. You agree with me though? This is a nice little restart for Green Arrow, right?
Yeah, the character stuff with him and Black Widow, I really
Black Canary.
Telling and
Black Canary. You confused her with Black Widow. That's easy to do. But
Black Canary. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, I liked it. Again, I didn't like that he's younger than me and he's crying about being so old. That's not nice. But yeah, I liked it. And it's usually you see the guy who says, "Hey, I don't want to have any kids. Lady, calm down. I don't want to settle down." But here, Green Arrow's like, "I want to put babies in you. Let's go." And she's like, "Nope, not going to happen. Sorry, buddy.
I got Black Canarying to do."
Yes, I got the Black Canarying to do. I don't know about the crackhead jumping through the window. That seemed forced.
Very, very, very forced.
I don't know.
I had a nickel for every time I've had that happen to me.
So, Mike Grell, what'd you think?
Ooh, hate to say it, but I can't believe it. I'm on Mike Dell's side. Sorry, Jank. I don't know. This is one of those comics that I always heard so much about, and when I finally read it years ago, I was disappointed by it, and it just felt like Frank Miller doing Dark Knight was groundbreaking, but now it seems like kind of a more typical comic book creator trying to do a serious take on a superhero, but he's just not skilled enough of a writer or an artist to do it well. I think the art is pretty good, but it's just not very creative,
I think some of it is.
I like the art a lot. More than
the
layouts.
Story. I like some of the layouts and the panel designs and stuff. Here's the deal with the Mike Grell. This is the first time I've seen his art. Very good with the close-ups of faces and stuff.
Right.
But I think whenever he has to do action or movement of any kind, things come across as flat and kind of lifeless.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan, but I did like some of those, especially those close-ups with the pastels on the gray backgrounds and stuff. Those are really beautiful. That's good stuff. And some of the page designs were really creative. So I don't hate the art, but it's definitely not a favorite. But Jank really loved it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he's one of my favorite artists, but I really enjoyed it for the story they were telling here. I thought it fit that kind of grim, gritty, kind of streetwise story that they were telling.
Mike Grell, do you remember any of his other art for Warlord or anything? Is this how he always draws?
No, to be honest, no. He was kind of, in my opinion, kind of an average artist. And then with this, he was obviously trying to, he was never this detailed or realistic. So I think he must have spent a lot of time on this art, which is fine. But I just don't think he doesn't have much imagination to me. He
doesn't have that, his figures don't have that dynamic energy.
Exactly, right.
They're just stiff.
Exactly.
But I guess when he started in the 70s, he said he was trying to just copy Neil Adams because that's what everyone was trying to do in the 70s. And then he said when he went away to do that Sable freelance guy, John Sable freelance, he said he really kind of more developed his own style, and that's kind of this style that he's using here. He developed over there. So, I like it, but I'm not a huge fan. It's fine.
And also, I mean, I've already talked about I don't necessarily like making him putting him in Seattle and getting rid of the trick arrows and all that.
See, I like that.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, as we said, even as just a basic sort of mystery, it's not stellar, right? It's kind of just average.
Yeah, just too muddled.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jank, do you think they were at the beginning? Do you think at the beginning they were trying to tease that he was the Robin Hood Killer? That's what they're trying to set up?
Sure. I think there were little breadcrumbs that you could definitely go down that path.
Yeah. So maybe that explains it, but they didn't really do it, or he didn't really do enough of that to drive that point home, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't even concerned about it. So.
No. Yeah, it almost seemed like those cutaway scenes where like the gravedigger getting shot, it's kind of like those are just throwaways. Like, what is going on here? They didn't really tie in. So what's going on here, basically, is that the Asian lady, the archer who kills everybody at the end, I read this, and I think what happened was her father was disgraced or something, and he was part of like the Yakuza. So now she is out for revenge to get all the people that wronged her father, because they like stole money from him, I guess. And so all these rich guys who got the money, she's going back to murder them all. Okay. And that's what's happening.
Yeah. Kind of like Lady Deathstrike a little bit. Only she was just going after Wolverine for, murdering her father.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I guess Black Canary gets kidnapped by them drug people, and then Ollie has to go save her, that whole thing.
I'm definitely intrigued to read the rest of this.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm good.
I have to plug Brad Meltzer's Green Arrow one more time. It was really good.
Michael loves Brad Meltzer. Yeah. Does he wear his old costume with the little leaf?
You know what? I think he does. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm guessing he did.
Yep. And it's called the Archer Quest. The Archer's Quest.
Hey, Jank, was this better than your beloved Kevin Smith's Green Arrow?
It's simpler, as convoluted as this was.
What?
He did a hard task of
it's simpler.
Basically, Green Arrow was dead at the time, so he had to like bring him back from the dead.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it was pretty complicated.
Son of a bitch! Always bringing people. Yeah. How did Green Arrow die?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but he was on like some kind of a plane that was exploding.
Oh, yes, that's
arm
right.
Got caught, and Superman showed up and was like, "Hey, I can, laser your arm off or whatever and get you out of here." And Green Arrow was like, "No, if I don't have my arm, I'm nothing." So he just went down with the ship and blew up.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
he's Superman. He could literally just rip the plane apart and carry him somewhere and get his arm out later.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of ways around this.
Oh, that is dumb.
Silly.
All right.
Trying to allude to that moment in, I guess the storyline in Dark Knight Returns where Green Arrow only has one arm, and he blames Superman for it. So I'm assuming it was supposed to be like, oh, look, it's happening.
Right.
But he went all the way and just died instead of losing his arm.
Well, how do they bring him back? Voodoo?
It was very complicated. It involved I think Green Lantern at the time, like Hal Jordan had become the Spectre. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately.
And somehow he did it because they were buddies, and I don't know.
DC is the worst. It's the worst.
That was very convoluted.
Yeah, nothing better than Marvel, where Tony Stark got turned into a teenager. Remember that in the 90s? That was great.
They onslaughted that away.
Let's be honest here. Any comic books after 1986 kind of suck, right? I mean, let's just...
No, I don't know. They got much better after 86. Come on.
Come on.
There was some good stuff for a while. Nowadays, it's all trash, but for a while, it was still good.
All right. So, Michael, what do you give Green Arrow Longbow Hunters?
Okay, this is tough because, I mean, it's technically a solid comic, but it's just not that entertaining to me. So I don't know. I can't go higher than a 5.
Oh, look at that. Just middle of the road for Michael.
Yeah. Wow.
Jank, where do you weigh in on that? I think I know you're going to be very high on this, but what do you think?
I think I'll go with an 8. I think that sounds about right for me. I like the art quite a bit. Storyline was, decent.
And it also had 2 of Jank's favorite things, crack and dead hookers. Gives it an 8. This is going to shock you. I'm going to go higher than Michael. I'll go 6.
What?
I'll go with 6.
All right.
Because I like the premise, what they're doing here. I like some of the art. Some of the art's very good, and some of it's not so much. So it's middle of the road. But yeah, just too muddled, and I don't know. Could have been better. But it's a good effort. Good effort.
It's no Dark Knight Returns, but it's for Green Arrow, it's good.
on a Green Arrow scale. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Not that bad. All right, so there it is. Green Arrow. Hey, did they ever do Green Arrow small bow hunters?
No, they did not. Fortunately. Really missed a chance.
All right, so next week it's my pick. And as we were discussing before the show, I put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, you've been scheduling this for months.
And I think I was going to pull an audible. I was going to change the book because I told you guys what we were going to do, and then I was going to change it here. But we'll stick with what we decided. So since Michael, you took Green Arrow, I'll go with the better Archer. And we'll go with West Coast Avengers issue 18 from 1986. This is Hawkeye. He's in there. Then West Coast Avengers.
Nice.
We've never done a West Coast Avengers book. I've been meaning to pick the West Coast Avengers all 3 years, and I never did. So let's just get it out of the way. Let's do West Coast Avengers.
Sure.
This story is set in the Old West.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is this the one with Ghost Rider, the original Ghost Rider?
That's right. Yeah, because remember, Michael, when I talked about doing this years ago on the show with years
ago.
Because I don't know if you were talking about it wasn't after Kid Colt, right? Or what? Did you do Kid Colt?
I did Kid Colt. Of course I did Kid Colt. Come on.
But then we also did a Ghost Rider book at some point, and I was like,
October, I think. That was supposed to be.
Oh, is that the one with
October.
The Thing? Or no? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was 2 years ago. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to pick West Coast Avengers then, and then something came up. I'm very busy. So now we're going to do it this next week. West Coast Avengers, issue 18, 1986. I don't know who the creators are, but I wanted to guess they weren't very good.
Oh, you mean Steve Englehart and Al Milgrom? Because I had the entire series and sold it.
Did Milgrom do the art in this one, though?
Yes, he did. Inked by Joe Sinnott. Yep.
How about that?
This
is the Old West one, right?
Give Mockingbird the Donna and Hard Hunted treatment, huh?
Donna and Hard Hunted. I'm trying to remember what happened.
Remember, she loses her memory and makes the sweet, sweet love with that guy, and then realizes, hey,
that's right.
We're never lovers.
Oh boy.
Yeah, in a way, that is kind of what happens here. Mike, we're Andy Sedaris devotees, and we love the Andy Sedaris movies, and that is a reference to one of them.
Never seen any of them.
Yeah.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, your life has
will
not
change.
even started.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. There you go.
He hadn't seen those movies, so give him a to live. Back nine's gonna be great now that I have Sedaris in my life.
I agree. I agree. All right, Jank. Well, thank you, buddy.
Number 15.
Pretty good.
It calls for something. I don't know what, but calls
for a new costume.
Yeah, yeah. With a little K on your belt.
Yes.
Nice. All right, there you go. Thank you for joining us. That was another episode of Flea Market Fantasy. Every week we review a different Bronze Age comic from 1970 to 1989, but only the ones before 1986 are good. Sometimes I pick, sometimes Mike Grell picks, sometimes Kevin Jank picks. So be sure to find all of our episodes at www.comicbooksyndicate.com. And until next Tuesday, disperse!